Now to Madagascar, and the European Union announced it will suspend its funding for the scheduled July presidential elections on Thursday. The EU joins the African Union in condemning the running by incumbent leader Andry Rajoelina for presidency. The EU has said it will not recognize Rajoelina as the country's president if he wins the poll. The move increases pressure on the incumbent leader not to stand. Rajoelina plunged the country into a still unresolved political crisis in 2009 when he seized power with military support in what the AU labelled a coup. The ensuing turmoil has stunted foreign investment and badly hurt economic growth. Well, let's get more details from Jack Barton joining us live from Brussels. Jack, how much of a blow will the EU suspension of funds will be to the electoral process in Madagascar?
Well, it's certainly going to be a blow. It comes in parallel with the same action by the African Union and also by the French government. But of course, the big question is it going to be as much of a blow as the actual issues that these suspensions are aimed at protesting? And that is, of course, Mr. Rajoelina coming back after promising that he wasn't going to run for office in January and putting his candidacy in. And of course, he's saying he's doing that because the former leader who he displaced in 2009 with that military-backed coup that you mentioned before, his wife has stepped in to the candidacy as well. So he says he has to respond to that. So given all of those events together, of course, this is a major blow to the overall credibility of the election, and very hard to see, since the actual election date is only on July 28th, how this electoral process is now going to get back on track.
So, Jack, is the move by the EU likely to put sufficient pressure on Rajoelina to withdraw his candidacy for the July polls?
Well, it's impossible to say, of course, but the hope here in Brussels is yes. That's the point behind the whole action. But it is going to be very difficult to do so because really they have to convince two candidates here to step down, and that is, of course, the wife of the former leader as well as the current interim leader. So with that sustained pressure, though, not just from the EU, but from France and also the African Union, the hope is that that can change. But the only thing that is really known right now, of course, is that the economic damage that is being done to the country through this political impasse is, of course, deepening. That has significantly worsened since 2009 when there was the change of power. But this troubled election process has really been putting additional pressure on that. And even if those candidates can, of course, be convinced to withdrawal, elections take time to organise. There's not that much time between now and July 28th. So even if it does gradually get back on track, that confidence is unlikely to improve in the short term. And it is going to be really an uphill battle to bring credibility back to these elections at this point.
All right, Jack Barton live in Brussels. Thanks very much for your time.